Were you impressed with Chelsea last night?
Do you know what? I watched that game, and to be fair to him, Cucurella was absolutely fantastic. He did not give Yamal an inch of space, and obviously they play together for Spain, and it was like he'd increased the levels of intensity. It was like Yamal probably thought, right, I know what to do against this guy. They up front, they didn't have anything. They were just completely wide open. It was like you say, Ange ball on steroids, and it was just they were. You know, I hate to say it, could have been 4 or 5, maybe more. They absolutely hammered them, and I watched that. Caicedo was fantastic. I watched them and I thought, do you know what? And even Sanchez, he looked solid, and defensively their whole back four looked solid. Which, you know, Chelsea can be great and turn up and do jobs like they did last night, but they can also be quite inconsistent. But they look really good, and that place was rocking last night. Stamford Bridge, those fans were very, very vocal. The songs were, you know, to actually hear what's being sung on TV is always a sign that it's loud in there. You could see them; they're all up, they're all standing up, they're all going for it.
Big game. It was a big game, and it was a big result for them, wasn't it? They looked impressive.
Yeah, they were really good, but I also just feel like the way they set up tactically for that game, you know, Enzo Maresca outdid Hansi Flick in that. And yeah, I think they played really well. As Marty said, it could have been, you know, they had 3 goals disallowed. Do you know what I mean? It could have easily been a 5 or a 6, and that's even without the red card. To be honest, I think the red card didn't really impact the game much. You saw from minute 1 that they were going to win with how intense they were, but we're not Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? We are a better defensive team, and you can see how we've been in the league. We're not going to play like that, so they're going to change how they play a bit to obviously when we go to see them.
And they were down to 10 men for most of the game. But Sadiq 111 says Hansi Flick's suicidal high line made it easy for Chelsea. I agree with that. I've seen 2 managers this week who refused to back off from their philosophy, right? One was Monday, Man United. You know, I mean, still playing free at the back when, you know, hammering when, you know, a team's down to 10 men. And then yesterday, a team that's down to 10 men now needs to go a bit more defensive, still attempting to play a high line, and got absolutely roasted. And you're right, Maresca did get his tactics right, because he had Neto playing as a false 9. He's one of the fastest players around, right? And they still, with 10 men, playing this suicidal high line. But yeah, listen, we will not play as badly as what I saw Barcelona play last night. However, they were very impressive.
Yeah, they were great. I think
Chelsea. And that will be a tough game at the weekend. Remember, last year it was a draw there. You know.
I was literally about to say the last 2 times we've been there, I would say we didn't really play as well, but we still came out with a draw. Whereas, like, when we drew 2-2, for example, they played really well, but we just turned up maybe in the last 30 minutes and showed quality. With the 1-1, I thought Martinelli scored, but then overall we were quite like average, and I actually thought Chelsea played quite well. So for me, if we play, as I always say, I'm not really worried about other teams. I'm always just worried about us. If we turn up and we play our best, we can beat any team, genuinely. It's just more of who turns up on that day, what the mentality is, what the thought process is that day. If we turn up against Chelsea like how we did against Spurs, you know, like how we've done against Atletico Madrid, so many other teams, I have no doubt that we can win it.
And you saw that, I think Sunday was a prime example of that. Thomas Frank tried to play the Thomas Frank way against Arsenal. Obviously knew that we were putting the balls down the wide channels, and then what he does, he very cleverly tries to overload 4-on-2. So, you know, we'll have say Saka. No, it wasn't. But you have Saka and Timber on the ball, and then they'll put 4 defenders over there to cover. But we found a way, because of our quality, to then put the ball into the middle. And Eze, basically, for me, scored pretty much 3 identical goals from that exact position where Arteta had his number, worked out how to play. And with that level of quality that we've got, that ball goes into the middle, and then there's only going to be one thing: Eze sticks it in the back of the net. And the amount of times where you saw him wide open in front of goal, and he could literally just pick the part of the goal that he wanted to put the ball in.
Chelsea, brilliant performance by them. They go into that game now in the weekend with a lot of momentum behind them. Everyone's talking about them. Fantastic performance, Esteval, all this and that.